My name is Stelmo98, and welcome to Sonic Project 06. It's almost like we've been here before. So, what we're going to be running is all stories, which means we're going to be starting with Sonic, going to Silver Sonic, and then ending with Fake Sonic. So let's get started here in 3, 2, 1, let's go! So, if you've never seen a Sonic Project and or 06 before, this is a fan-made remake by lead developer Chaos X 2006, and a whole bunch of other awesome people in the Sonic fan community that seeks to reimagine Sonic 06 in the 2019 Unity engine and transform it into the Sonic Adventure 3 it was always trying to be. Starting off in Sonic's story here, we're going to see a lot of familiar moves from him. We've got the Spam Dash from Sonic Adventure, we got the Bound Attack from Sonic Adventure 2, we've got that classic homing attack, and we got some Sonic 06 exclusive abilities like Sonic Slide Kick. We've also got just a straight up slide attack, as well as the gem abilities. The gems are 8 colorful hunks of rock that, when equipped to Sonic shoes one at a time, we can use some of the energy in our action gauge, which is that glowy bar in the bottom right that serves as a magic system for Project 06, and perform special abilities. One of them is transforming into Super Sonic, which we are going to be doing before every single Mach Speed section. At least that's the plan anyway. And I'm going to toss it over to our amazing commentators, Gordon and Rev, to explain what's going on from here.
All right, well, we could play rock, paper, scissors for it, but I spoke first, so let's keep going with Tails. Every character in this game has 2 side characters, so Sonic has Tails and Knuckles, Shadow has Rouge and Omega, Silver has, well, we'll get to him when we get to him. We're going to see Tails more later, so don't worry about his mechanics right now. Instead, we got to go straight into those Mach Speed sections that Stelmo mentioned a little bit before. You've got about 4 of these scattered throughout Sonic's 9 or 10 stages, and in these, your controls change a little bit. You can't stop moving forward. You also can't homing attack, and you can't freely swap the gems. But if you were Super Sonic beforehand, you get to keep that for one shot. As Super Sonic, you are invincible to all harm, and you move a lot faster than normal, but even if you're not Super, that's okay. If you light dash on a trail of rings while holding forward, you'll get put into a special state we like to call Mach 3 that lets you just eliminate any objects or enemies that you run into. Now, Stelmo may be going for a pretty cool skip here using that increased speed from Super Sonic where he jumps off the loop, gets a little bit of a slope launch, and then jumps off the other bit. Nice!
Time! That was loop skip, probably one of the hardest tricks in the run, but I mean, this is our first attempt, so get it every time.
Casually get it, yeah. No biggie, no biggie.
Oh my goodness. So moving on into our next stage, Dusty Desert here, we're going to be seeing the third of the 4, count them, 4 gameplay styles that Sonic finds himself in Project 06. Sonic carrying Princess Elise. And Rev, man, I do not want to talk about this, so I'm going to throw it over to you.
Okay, so for 2 stages, because for whatever reason, like, we're going to see another gameplay style in a second that is also only used for 2 stages. We have to escort Elise to a location, and thank God they did not make this an actual escort mission, because that would be ugh. But while we're carrying Elise, we do not have access to like half our moveset. We can't spin dash, we can't spin kick, we can't do any of the gems. The only things we have access to are the anti-grav slide and this shield that makes us impervious to falling into water or quicksand. And as you can see, we're using the slide a lot because it helps us maintain a lot of momentum after light dashes, which is the fastest way to move as this character.
Yeah, so the slide doesn't really have much use outside of the Princess stages because Sonic just has so many freaking moves in this game. But it does have a little bit. It's cool. We do get to see pretty much every single ability that Sonic has throughout this entire run. Into White Acropolis we go. If you've been around one of my streams or 2, you know it's time to pop out those cat gems, cat jams, and cat jam jams. Unfortunately, though, Nightbot's not here to jam and jam with us, but we can now introduce our 4th gameplay style here, Sonic on the snowboard.
Sonic on the board. In the original game, this had a lot of control issues, but Project 06 has pretty much eliminated all of those. There's not too much to talk about with the snowboard. Whenever you see those glowing lines on the ground, like right up here, you want to do a jump? Well, except for that one,
for
apparently.
the most part.
That'll give you a burst of speed, give you some points. Sonic goes into a cool trick animation. When you're going uphill, downhill, basically wherever, you can tap the X button to do a little kick and get a little bit of extra speed, which I think it's mostly placebo once you're going fast, but it keeps the fingers busy.
No, it isn't. It definitely is not.
Sonic 06, or Project 06 even, does in fact keep the fingers busy. As we go ahead and head into our last jump here, we're going to be doing a cool trick. This was an unused trick animation from the original game. You're going to see a lot of unused animations from the original game here in Project 06. Hopping into Section 2 of White Acropolis, seeing our main method of movement here. This is Blue Gem spin kicking. We can use the spin kick to maintain our speed of the Blue Gem, kind of like we did with the Light Dash in Dusty Desert. And because the action gauge slowly refills when we're not using our abilities, it basically refills to where we can infinitely use the Blue Gem and then use the spin kicking once again and just maintain that really fast speed. But oh my goodness, it's Tails.
We got Tails. Let's talk about him a little bit. So his flight is tied to the action gauge. A lot of characters have access to this. If you hold down the A button, it will deplete pretty rapidly, but you'll go upwards. Otherwise, he will slowly descend and the action gauge will slowly go down. So optimal flight's kind of like butterfly tapping that button. Don't worry, we'll see more Tails later.
Heading into our last part of White Acropolis here, we're just going to be doing some Blue Gem movement. I'm actually going to do a spin dash here because for some reason, like the Blue Gem is a little bit faster than a spin dash, but with just how the speed of the spin dash works with that slope, it allows Sonic to get a higher jump there and completely bypass all the platforming, finishing up White Acropolis in 2 minutes. Very nice. Now, as we hop into our next stage here, doing something I totally didn't forget to do. Let's see what's going here. There we go.
He would never.
Heading into our next stage, California, we are going to be seeing a cool cameo from
Shadow. Don't be late.
Oh, it's Shadow! Look, there he is!
Sonic!
It's your Shadow! All right, anyway, continuing on through California, we are going to be seeing the second of our snowboarding sections here. Fun fact is we actually have double the top speed in this snowboard section than we did the first time because this section's a little bit more stretched out, so it just feels a lot better to have this higher top speed than what we had in White Acropolis. No, so coming up here, if you follow the streams once again, there's a fun little thing I like to do off of this jump. Now, Sonic can do 360s by himself, but I can't say that we can't do a 360 manually, so here we go. Let's get the 360! Oh! As we do a little bit of swag on that jump, but the swag does not end there, as we are going to fly off this platform, spin around 180, and finish off the rest of Sonic's California on the snowboard backwards.
You say California, and as a California, I'm saying that there's not enough traffic here. I'm calling it out here.
We did have a meme where Iblis, the big fire demon guy that made the future like this, is the landlord, so maybe he just took all of the cars as collateral is probably what happened. People couldn't pay their rent on time or anything. But into Section 2 here, we have the chance to talk about the energy cores and how they factor into our action gauge. So, Rev, would you like to explain that?
So the big glowy blue bar at the bottom, as we mentioned earlier, is the action gauge, but there's a tiny little not glowy blue bar below it. That is the maturity meter, and it controls the level of our gems. So every gem starts off at level 1, and they act as you'd expect. You get like whatever ability is advertised, but if you level them up, these abilities get enhanced, like with the purple gem. At level 1, you just get 1 extra jump, but you get an additional extra jump with every time you level it up. And that's useful for us crossing that gap there.
Exactly. A cool thing about the energy cores, too, is that they don't fly into our character immediately, because each energy core also fills up our action gauge a little bit. The action gauge only fills up naturally for Sonic when we are on the ground. Actually, for most characters, it's just on the ground. But we are able to fill it up a little bit in the air, and outrun those energy cores to use the purple gem and get it to level 2 in the air and use those 2 jumps to do a big skip. But we are Supersonic once again for the most fun Mach speed section ever here. I am going to be holding forward, everyone's favorite thing in a Sonic game. And since we don't have too much to talk about here, I figure it's a great time to talk about the jump dash type we're using for this run.
Who's this we you're talking about?
That's right. I am the one playing the game.
Okay, fine, I can take it over. So, Project 06 has a lot of customization options. You may have seen a little bit of those when Stelmo went into the menu, including your jump dash or homing attack if you touch grass. Your options are straight, which works how it did in retail. You go straight forward, you lose speed throughout it. You got curved, which works how it did in like the demos and whatnot. You kind of arc downwards. It kind of sucks. And then you have legacy, which is how it was in like Shadow 05 and Sonic Heroes, where it preserves your previous direction. So if you're going up and you homing attack, you keep going up. If you're going down, you get to the ground really, really fast. And that is great in a speedrun, especially because in Project 06, you can homing attack out of a bounce attack. And in fact, using that air action will reset your homing attack one time. So in this next stage, you're going to see Stelmo starting a bounce attack, then immediately doing a homing attack to quickly get to the ground and keep his speed, and we call that a drop dash. And okay, back to you.
Who's you? There's like 5 of us in here.
You call that a
somebody?
We call it a
Please.
drop dash if you don't touch grass. If you do touch grass, or no, that's the opposite. If you do touch grass, it's the drop dash. If you don't, then it's the bounce excel.
Oh,
Go both them on, man.
Here we go into Sonic's Flame Core, my personal favorite stage in the entire run. There's just so much blue gem dashing we're going to be doing here. I'm going to land on this platform, blue gem jump to here, blue gem over here, and then switch to the spin dash to give our blue gem a chance to refill our action gauge more specifically. And then what I'm going to do here is the second enemy encounter. You see Sonic just wipes the floor with all the enemies in this game because he is the combat-focused character. I switched to the purple gem, not to use it, but to in fact level it up to level 3. So that way, like Rev mentioned back in Crisis City, how we get an extra jump per each level. Each gem can be leveled up a total of 3 times, and at level 3 we get those 3 extra jumps, which we can use in combination once we enter section 2 here with the speed shoes. The speed shoes not only increase our ground speed cap, but our air speed cap as well, and combine that with the fact that we have a total of 4 jumps, our initial jump, and then the 3 jumps we get with the purple gem, we can go a little fast. So it's not the only time we're going to be seeing that in the run, but I'm going to land in lava, I guess. I don't.
Gotta cool off a little bit.
All part of the plan.
The ragu. Oh yes, it's all intentional here.
Ooh.
Support AbleGamers, please.
Please.
Switching on over to Knuckles the Echidna, we're doing the very important task that Knuckles could not, or that Sonic, in fact, could not do himself, of course. Only Knuckles can do this, where we have to glide into 5 of these orbs and open the way up for Sonic. Now, a cool thing that Project 06 does is in the original game... did I miss one?
Yeah, you
Yes.
What?
Yep,
What?
there's
How did that
power
one not
right there.
activate?
You?
I think something's wrong with the game, I think. There's no way that was my fault.
Good speedrunner.
Anyway, but Sonic actually starts back where we switched to Knuckles, where he would normally just start beyond the door, so Knuckles was even more useless in the original game, but at least he has some use here. Falling down this final tube, screaming our heads off, and finishing off Flame Core in a time.
In a time.
In a time.
What is that time? Let's just ignore it. Let's say we leave this one a mystery.
I think that
It's more
says, what does that say,
interesting.
204?
No, no, no! Spoiler! No! I'm not there on the stream yet!
I just want to let you know that we had a $5 donation from Dirty Dan _DG that says Iblis would be the kind of landlord to raise the rent by 20% at the worst timing.
He would. He's not very conversational either. It's normally just growls, so be very very hard to negotiate with him, I bet.
Calculus professor.
That's his day job. Being a
Knight,
landlord,
that's the god of
simply.
destruction. Anyways, we've got Radical Train. The gimmick at this stage is that, well, there are 3 trains scattered throughout, and they are hurtling towards bombs, so you gotta get ahead of them, you gotta press a switch, you gotta bust those bad boys open and let the trains go to safety. That doesn't really come up, though. Instead, the thing that matters is getting 50 rings. This is the only stage where the ring routing is actually pretty tight for Supersonic, and thankfully Stelmo just makes it through, goes super, and we get into the most interesting Mach Speed section.
And we also saw a bit of that Speed Shoe Purple Gem synergy there once again at the end of Radical Train, but I was too busy laughing to talk about it. But now that we're in Radical Train's Mach Speed section, we are going to be seeing Eggman's train somehow outrun a light dashing Mach Speed Supersonic. We're going like almost light speed here, and somehow the nitrous that Eggman created can just completely outrun this. Fun fact here is that we are actually chasing Eggman down here in Section 2, but in Section 1, we are actually saving civilians. There's a voice line at the very beginning of Radical Train that a civilian says, "Sonic, help me," but it sounds so similar to Elise's voice actress that everyone just thought Elise was in both trains, but that's not the case. So there you go. Little lore.
They had the entire cast record various screams for the NPCs. Some of them are pretty great. There's one where, like, an old man is just having a heart attack. It's like, "Oh, please, Sonic, help me!" But for some reason, those went unused.
No.
Oh no. How miserable. Just like playing as Sonic and the Princess again in Tropical Jungle here. Now, I've got a bit of beef with these Princess stages here, is that these are probably... they're not the most dense stages or most, like, interestingly designed stages in the game, but both Dusty Desert and Tropical Jungle have tons of multiple pathways, an incredible amount of different ways to just approach getting from point A to point B, which is, like, one of, at least for me, the defining characteristics of and what makes a lot of Sonic games fun. But we're with a significantly butchered moveset here because we can only use, like, 4 actions that Sonic has. Tropical Jungle Section 1 here doesn't suffer from it too much because there's a lot of automation and set pieces going on here, but you'll be able to see it in Section 2 as we interweave between multiple routes in order to get to the end as fast as possible.
Yeah, Section 2 is insane, and it's made even worse that in, like, pre-release footage, they just showed Sonic going through it solo. And then, you know, final game comes out and you're shackled down by the weight of a
You're
lovely
heavy.
princess. You're heavy.
So Section 2, we're starting at the bottom route here, going on the middle route, back to the bottom route, gonna homing attack these guys to fill up our action gauge, use the light dash, and then we're gonna go to the end of the top route at the top of this log here, take these springs, hit the rail, and hit the goal ring.
Also, that's only left side. You've got about double the stage off to the right.
Yeah, it takes probably a good 5 minutes to see everything that's in Section 2. And wasn't Tropical Jungle one of the first stages created?
Yeah, it was one of the first ones that they got together. At least these sections. Section 3 came together a bit later.
But now it's time for the big one, Kingdom Valley. So getting a cool cutscene here with Silver at the beginning. All these cutscenes are custom made that you're seeing, made in the Unity game engine, which is really cool. Adds some personality, and we're going to be seeing a lot more extremely cool ones later on in the other characters' stories. But as we begin here in Section 1 of Kingdom Valley, going through one of the most intricately designed levels in Sonic the Hedgehog, period. It's so clear that this was the one that was developed the most because, wow, there's so many multiple pathways. Taking a secret tunnel up here and using the speed of the blue gem and the slope of that tunnel in order to get a huge launch, skip that eagle, jump ourselves right into the stage trigger, and head into Section 2, where we're going to be seeing Silver the Hedgehog.
We'll never see him again, so get attached to him right here and right now. There's psychokinetic. A little bit of a menace here. Unfortunately, he cannot fly across water like he could in the original game, but as his S-rank reward, he can use the maturity meter to activate ESP mode and reduce the cost of all of his actions by like 35%. And when you have a move that just lets you fly as long as you have meter, that ends up being kind of good.
ESP mode is the S-rank reward we are going to be seeing the most. The Rainbow Gem, which allows us to transform into Super Sonic, is Sonic's S-rank reward. And the one with Shadow's pretty good too, I guess. But we'll be seeing that a lot later in Shadow's story. Heading into Section 3 of Kingdom Valley here, a lot more linear than Section 1 was, but we are going to be leveling up our Rainbow Gem to level 3 here. Again, not to activate Super Sonic quite yet. We do still need those 50 rings, which we got, but mainly to get the Rainbow Gem to level 3, which we just accomplished right there. For a little bit, I'm going to be switching to the blue gem just so we can get those speed bursts once again. But now it's time to set up for Castle Skip. Here we go.
Alright, this is something that Sonic 06 does very well. The environment is a big part of the level design, and just like all these decorative towers, yeah, you can stand on them, you can knock them down. And so instead of taking a 20-second long automated sequence, Stelmo's gonna break it, use the blue gem to get a ton of speed, knock down that castle, swap to Rainbow Gem. At level 2, that grants you increased jump height, and at level 3...
we get the Arrow of Light and Castle Skip Hog! For the full cost of the action gauge, we were able to shoot Sonic forward in a blaze of glory there, able to bypass all of those gaps, and we're actually going to be able to use it one more time here to cut a little bit of rail time right there. I mean, I don't know how Sonic's grinding on the wind, but whatever. It's not the weirdest thing we've seen in this franchise. As we get another cool cutscene here, Silver dropping down, helping us out. I don't know if Super Sonic really needs help here, but it's the thought that counts, so A for effort, buddy. as we zoom into one of the most gorgeous Mach speed sections, one of the most gorgeous pieces in the game here. I'm just going to let the music and the visuals take this away for the rest of the stage.
Yeah, I was gonna say this is really awkward because I'm not hearing anything.
You're hearing the game audio.
I had the stream muted. I'm not gonna lie.
Good commentating. We're good at our jobs. I promise.
Coming up next, to break the awkward silence, coming up next is Sonic's Aquatic Base. Now, Kingdom Valley does feel like a final level, but Aquatic Base really takes final level to heart, because especially recently, probably within the last 2 months or so, the stage has become so insanely optimized that it is easily the hardest stage in the game, just overall, because we are going to be going through a lot of narrow corridors, so your movement has to be pretty much perfect in order to have any reasonably good time. Because the stage is so linear, there's nothing that we can really do about it, so we just gotta play well, which I hope I do.
It's a hard
The tall ask.
yeah.
Going well so far, though. As a cool thing there we did with these bigger enemies is they actually have a little gap, the thigh gap, that they could... Anyway, they have a gap in between their legs that Sonic can just fit right between, so we're able to go under that enemy in order to get to that light dash. But now we're seeing the gimmick of Aquatic Base here, the magnetic poles. Magnetic poles are this really interesting gimmick where when you activate it by pressing or by just doing an attack near it, could be a spin dash, bound attack, spin attack, whatever, it just destroys everything in the nearby vicinity. Not entirely sure why Eggman decided to have all his enemies congregate, or all of his robots, I guess, not enemies to him, congregate around these things, but I'm sure glad that he does. Switching over to Tails, I'm going to throw it over to Rev this time as we take care of his final section. We're never going to see him again.
On forever?
So, as Gordon mentioned in White Acropolis, the optimal way to get distance with Tails is to feather the A button. Because whenever you are not holding the A button, Tails actually takes less meter. So, by just repeatedly tapping, we're able to optimize our meter management. But something else that you may not realize, because it's not really like immediately apparent, is that Tails, because his flight uses the action gauge in this game instead of just being an invisible timer, you are actually able to extend your flight time by killing enemies, which is pretty cool.
Switching back over to Sonic here, we're hitting those 4 magnetic poles, getting a huge score bonus, and heading into Section 2 of Aquatic Base here. We're going to be seeing a lot more blue gem spin kicking here. Going to do a little strike right on those enemies. And we're going to use, again, the speed of the blue gem and the slope of that loop. Instead of taking the automation, we're just going to skip it instead. No, Philip, you can't.
No, what?
Philip, no, don't out me like that, man.
Referee's getting called out right now.
Oh my goodness, we get to see Knuckles again. Where with Knuckles, we're going to see a lot of cool combat stuff where he's got a bunch of different punches and he has the drill drive from Sonic Adventure 2, which now has a shockwave. And oh.
Hi, Knuckles.
Where's the combat, Stelmo?
I don't know.
Did you lie to me, Stelmo?
Maybe it's in the bonus content that we can possibly show off at the end of the run. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. But until then, we are going to be switching back to Sonic, using that blue gem, and getting ourselves to the end of this stage. We're going to be seeing a new gem here, the green gem, which does big tornado attack, defeats stuff. At level 3, it does a bunch of damage, defeats those enemies really quickly. And now we're going to do gem roulette here. The gems I didn't show off are the red gem, which slows down time, including Sonic. Not that useful. The sky gem, which kind of acts like a grappling hook or an ender pearl from Minecraft. We can hold and aim it, release it, get launched to that point. You saw it in Radical Train, but we were too busy talking about something else to mention it. We got the white gem, which is the homing smash. Upgraded version of the homing attack, does more damage. And finally, the yellow gem, which emits the thunder shield. Doesn't give us a double jump. We got the purple gem for that, but it does protect us from damage by, instead of taking rings, it takes action gauge, which becomes more resilient as we level it up. And it also draws in nearby rings, which is really useful for grabbing those S ranks on your first run through. Each of these gems are hidden about Sonic's stages, at least in the stages where you play as Sonic normally, not the Princess stages, so it's really fun to find those and wield their new abilities. But here we go. Oh,
He's back!
I'm sorry, I forgot about this level. Welcome to Tails Wave Ocean. Every single story in Project 06 has an extra stage at the very end where we play as an Amigo character. Amigo is what the game calls them, but just side characters. Through a smaller section of one of the larger stages, and Wave Ocean with Tails is this one here. So, yeah.
Yeah.
We're playing through a stage we've already played before with a character we've already played in it, so...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, look at those tails go. That fox lands on the
I
rail.
So
love the
invigorating.
enthusiasm here.
A fun thing
Poor
about Tails is he kind of turns into a B-17 bomber here with the dummy ring bombs. These things do damage on contact when they hit enemies, but they also shoot out a ring of 10 rings that can do damage to enemies in the surrounding area. Like Reb said back in Aquatic Base, how we can use the energy cores to actually increase Tails' flight. Since it's determined by that action gauge, we are able to extend our flight there and just destroy everything in his way. Don't take Tails lightly. Even 8-year-olds can be a menace. Actually, that translates
Or
to
a
real
war
life
criminal.
quite well. Or a war criminal. Yeah, they're just
criminal.
robots. It's fine.
The U.S. government is looking to contract Tails for their next
Doing the exact same trick we did right here, except instead of a switch this time, we got the goal ring. And with touching the goal ring, that's going to finish off Sonic's story. And we're going to be zooming ahead into our next story, starring Silver Sonic.
Wait, there's more? I thought
There
this was
is?
Sonic any percent.
Oh, no. I maybe say that in the interview, but, you know, things change. Like how between the interview and now, I shaved my beard, completely switched the room orientation, and there's probably some other third thing that happens. But
You changed your shirt. That's the third.
I did change my shirt. That's what happened.
That's how fast you are.
Yeah, I'm just that fast. I don't talk as fast as Arctic, though. That man, he talks faster than Sonic runs.
But what if we all tried to talk as fast as Arctic? I think that'd make for pretty good commentary at the end.
I think that would be pretty good.
Let's hear this chat, and surely we can make something happen right here as we head into Silver's Crisis City. We're going to be playing as the Silver Hedgehog himself, so we saw a little bit of him in Kingdom Valley. Now, Silver is all about meter management, way more so than the other characters here. Now, he also has some of the most impactful upgrades in the game, aside from, you know,
Can you
like
start
Sonic's
speaking with a Scottish accent as well?
Oh yeah, I suppose I could try that right there. So what we've done right here is we've eliminated 3 of the enemies. That fills up the maturity meter right there. Now Silver actually needs at least 3 energy cores in that meter before he can activate ESP mode. Now, once the meter is activated, you can't actually fill up any more than that, so you're kind of stuck with whatever you had when you go into it. So that is another aspect of meter management that you really have to keep in mind. Do you try to kill more enemies before you activate it so that you get a longer burst within ESP mode, or do you just go for the minimum so that you can activate it as many times as possible? Okay, back to you.
In short-
Argic in the chat, can we get approval for
Can we get a rating out of 10?
please?
0.
In layman's terms, as Philip said in the chat, something combat focused character. Like Blaze the cat right here. So Blaze has a bunch of different moves, but there's 2 ones we're going to be using as our main source of movement. One is the Fire Claw, a little bit of a variation on the homing attack. While it does not adopt the customization of the straight, curved, or legacy that you can do for Sonic or Shadow, it has its own little arc. We can activate it off the ground, and we can also deactivate it and reactivate it multiple times in the air, which is going to come into play when we play as Blaze once again. Now, if you didn't catch what Gordon said, Silver has this little mode called ESP mode. ESP mode is his S-rank ability. We saw it in Kingdom Valley. We saw it at the beginning of Crisis City, and we're going to be seeing it a whole lot more in his story. It does a whole bunch of different things, and it's basically his super state, except it doesn't make him invincible. He still takes touch damage, but regardless, there's just so much that it does do that we'll be talking about throughout the story that it basically becomes quintessential for Silver's any percent. In addition to that, he's got 2 upgrades that you can find hidden within his stages. One is the Lotus of Resilience that allows you to do these super long teleport dashes. Normally, they're stopped after a certain amount of time, but with the upgrade, you can use it as long as you have meter for it. And secondly, it allows him to spin jump like the rest of the other characters, as you've seen already. We'll be talking about what the other upgrade does later, but now, after that amazing cutscene animated by Chaos X in addition to the incredible 3D animator Sonic Fox to introduce Tropical Jungle ourselves, and seeing a little bit of that Unity lag right there. Because Project 06 is still in development, it does have some lag spikes here and there when you run the game for a long time. So what I am going to be doing, and don't fret, we are going to be back, but after this stage, I'm going to be closing the game and reopening it just so we don't get any more of that Unity lag for the remainder of the run. But Tropical Jungle, what is supposed to be an incredibly long stage, turned into an incredibly short stage. Kind of similarly in the original game too, the top route is just so fast. And that is the fastest completion time we're going to have in this entire run at, I believe, 36 seconds? Yep, 36,199. Beautiful stuff.
Yeah, silver stages are meant to be like longer, puzzle-focused, almost gauntlets, but you have some freedom to make your own route through it. So when Project 06 gives the character, actual Sonic physics, things get a little crazy with the completion time.
Mm-hmm.
I say as we head into the longest stage.
Yeah. Especially in
So
Tropical Jungle. 'cause
Silver
there's, like,
went to go get a Grand Slam. I got a donation of $5 from Anonymous that says, "Let's go, Stelmo. Absolutely loving the Sonic Project 06 speedrun. What's your favorite story to run? And let's get a train going to reach $100.
Yeah, I'm always down for a donation train. My favorite one is Sonic's Any% because I am a Sonic Tails and Knuckles loyalist, I hate to say. Sonic 3 and Knuckles is my favorite game, so not much I can do. But Silver and Shadow also provide a good show. Oh, sorry, Silver Sonic and Fake Sonic also provide a good show here, including in Dusty Desert. Rev, you want to take away this stage?
Stelmo, turn on the stream.
The screen.
Oh, I'll turn on the screen.
We
Okay.
can't see.
Okay,
We're
so-
blind.
I'm switching to Amy right now.
Oh, okay, so
Damn, you're that far ahead?
dang. Anyways, Amy got a massive glow up in Project 06. In the original game, she had this weird, stealth-focused gameplay where she could turn invisible, but all her moves had a ton of lag, she moved slowly, just awful. In Project 06, she's a lot closer to her adventure counterpart. Her double jump keeps her speed, she can do a hammer flip on the ground, all her actions keep speed, she deals a ton of damage, invisibility is gone, hallelujah, we can see the woman! And all sorts of other things. Amy's a great character.
Great character that we only unfortunately get to see one time. And then she's gone forever.
Project 06 did an incredible thing where it transformed a character you never wanted to see after her only section to being extremely sad that this is her only section in the entire game. She will have a section in the next release in the End of the World, but hopefully we get to play as Amy a whole lot more. As I very quickly tried to share the game with my commentators again so they don't have to commentate blindly, only losing a little bit amount of time there. Did it work? Can
We
you
are
see
so
it?
back. We are
Yes,
so back.
We are so bad.
I can see the hog.
Oh my goodness. So Gordon, in his Scottish ramble during Crisis City, explained a little bit about the maturity meter. The maturity meter for Sonic was used for leveling up his gems, and for Silver, it governs his ESP mode. So you're going to see that little white tick mark about a third of the way up the meter. That's that glowing meter underneath the action gauge that you'll see in the bottom right there. While ESP mode is active, we cannot extend its duration, so we have to be very careful when we activate it. However, the more the meter is filled up, the longer we can have it for, and I just used max duration there in order to aid us in the ball puzzle. Dun dun dun, with a little bit of ball physics being improved from the original game, in addition to the terrain being changed to accommodate a little bit more of a fair puzzle. The ball puzzle is honestly one of the coolest parts of the game instead of being one of the most miserable.
Yeah, the blockers actually work to, block the ball. The final hole is magnetized a little bit, and Silver can use the action gauge to slow the thing down if it's on a bad trajectory. Ball puzzle is pretty cool.
Now, it's time to see Blaze once again at the beginning of White Acropolis. We're going to be seeing a lot more of her Fire Claw movement here. It's what I'm using right now. Also doubles as her homing attack, like I said back in Crisis City. But we've got two more moves that she can use. She can use the Spinning Claw from the original game, now assigned to its own button. Can kind of help defeat enemies while staying on the same path instead of constantly diverting paths with the homing attack. Additionally, she also has a move called the Crow Attack, which was an unused move from the original game, where she just kind of does this little cat-like pounce. Little bit of, I'm trying to think, overarching Overlapping, that's what I was thinking of. A little bit of overlapping with the spinning claw, but ultimately the fire claw is the best move for Blaze's combat. But we will be seeing the spinning claw a little bit in the, not the next appearance of Blaze, but the one after that. As we head into the second part of White Acropolis here with Silver, we're going to be using this teleport dash once again. We're going to be teleport dashing into these rocks and then using the slope of them in order to get a huge slope jump. The slope jumps can be really insane in Project 06, as we just did 3 back-to-back right there. Do a teleport dash over this gate, taking advantage of that Lotus of Resilience, and zooming our way to the end of the stage. Now, for our next stage, Radical Train, it's another really short stage like Tropical Jungle, so I'll throw it over to Rev to kind of introduce what we're going to be seeing there. Oh, they fell asleep.
What? There's nothing
Gone
special
forever.
about that stage, bro. I mean, I guess we are gonna be in ESP mode for literally the entire stage. So showcasing
Yeah.
like just how freaking busted ESP mode is.
There's always something special about every stage.
Rev and Radical Train, you can talk about how it was added in Project 06 to have a gauge up capsule at the beginning to activate ESP mode. Oh. What's that? Oh,
That's pretty cool.
sorry,
Get
I
away
blacked
from me,
out for a
dude.
minute there.
But yeah, in an earlier release, we were actually able to make that gap without ESP mode, but then the creator of the game nerfed the teleport dash, and then we pleaded and begged for him to add a gauge up capsule there, and he did. That's the lore.
That's about it. That's pretty cool.
The other cool thing about Radical Train is that we'll actually see Silver grinding on the rails. In the original Radical Train, he was not able to do it, but he could do it in the multiplayer of 06, so it was just decided that Silver is, in fact, able to grind on rails. All the characters, in fact, are able to grind on rails in this game. And what we saw right there was another move called the Psychic Knife, which, I mean, it's been generations since we've seen that.
Was that a reference?
Can we kill this guy?
I'll be here for the next 45 minutes, don't worry. Or how long do we have? We got... Yeah, no, that was about right.
5 hours. We're doing this.
Oh, God.
It's all us, baby.
Let me go!
We're doing 180 metal stacks.
Wagers is sweating right now. Moving on into Aquatic Base, though, it is our housing where we can find our final upgrade. Oh my God, it's Shadow. It's Shadow again. Guys, it's the year of Shadow.
Dude, it's the combat-focused character. Now we
As
actually
a
get to
as a Latina, I'm happy.
He just loves Latinas.
Anyway, we'll be seeing more of that later, but switching back to Silver here.
Or Shadow.
Both.
So
Thank
Silver
goodness.
has this ability in Project 06. He gets with the Flame of Control, which you can find hidden in this stage, called the Psychic Knife. As, of course, a reference to Sonic Generations. It's this really cool projectile that you can hold the B button to charge it up and then release it. Does a bunch of damage to enemies at the cost of the action gauge and is incredibly useful. I originally thought that it wasn't going to have much use in the speedrun, but we use it in, like, I think 5 of the 8 stages pretty liberally, especially in the final gauntlet we have with Silver here. Aquatic Base, Kingdom Valley, and Flame Core are significantly longer stages and much more difficult. More closer to Dusty Desert than a Tropical Jungle, so I'm going to have to be on my A game here, which thankfully things have been going pretty well so far.
Yeah,
Silver
Silver-
stages are like really 50-50 because they'll either be super short and sweet stage, or it's gonna be like the longest, hardest thing you've ever played.
Yeah, and it tends to be super backloaded. Like, what is it? The last 3 or 4 like the last 3 stages are most of his runtime.
Silver speedruns tend to be around 18 minutes, and you finish Radical Train at 9 minutes. So it's quite a lot. Whoo! Getting that skip right there. That's very tight timing. Awesome to showcase that. Going to be activating ESP mode once more, which when you activate ESP mode, Silver emits this giant blast, which we can use in combination with the magnetic pole to defeat all these enemies surrounding us. And we're going to be doing this a very tight teleport dash, but since the teleport dash always uses the same amount of meter, we know we're going to make it every single time. Activating this rune throughout Silver's story, he just has these little runes we've seen throughout previous stages as well. Also seeing some 3D in our 3D Sonic game here. I don't know what's going on with that. Then we're going to be using the Psychic Knife. to finish what I was saying before I went on 2 different tangents, is the psychic runes. They just kind of activate things. They open doors. They can create platforms for silver, that type of stuff. We're going to be seeing it a lot more in Flame Core, but before we get there, we're going to be seeing Kingdom Valley.
Yeah.
Best stage, bro.
I
What?
love
The
Kingdom
enthusiasm
Valley.
is back again, I see.
Where's the hype, man? The stage is
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah, the stage is awesome, and look at this cutscene, it's so good.
Oh my
Look.
god, look at Sonic.
Oh, look at Silver, he's looking over his shoulder. Oh, he gives a
That's
thumbs
so-
up. Let's go.
Where'd he go?
He's
Where's
gone!
Sonic? I
He's
don't see
gone.
him.
Fastest thing alive.
No, that's my title. Sorry. Anyways, using the psychic projectile there to knock down that tower from across the universe, the psychic shot, just done by tapping the B button, Silver has that by default, actually travels a little bit farther than the psychic knife, so there is reasons to use each one. Also, now we get to see all those chaos drives being physical objects in the world. Outrun them with the teleport dash, massively prolong your distance, get all the way over here, chuck a bunch of spiky balls at a bunch of crabs, and just average Tuesday things, and please
Let's swear
uh,
somebody
crabs.
rescue me.
But today's Sunday.
Is it?
It's Tuesday for Silver.
Yeah.
He's in the future.
See, Rev understands.
He's in the future. We can't-
Gordon, wake
we
up.
can't-
You've been in a
we
coma
can't-
for 5 days.
No, that was Rev.
Oh, yeah,
What-
that's a good
like
point.
he's from the future, bro. We can't guarantee that his days of the week align perfectly.
Ooh,
with
that's
ours.
a good
we got
point.
America on the screen.
Do you think? I mean, Iblis is a landlord, so he probably follows the 7-day-a-week structure.
Yeah, it's true.
God. Okay, it's gone.
It was really incredible. If you didn't get to check out the SGDQ run, Gordon and I were there for Project 06. We happened to do that USA bit with the Eagles on Canada Day, which was complete
Wait,
coincidence.
really? Oh my god.
I saw that in a comment, so
Just gotta show him the superior country.
shout out to
I mean,
Accidental Laughs. Performing Castle Skip once again in a little bit of a different way here. We don't have enough rings to transform into Super, so we just use the purple gem to Castle Skip Pog once again, and then that's it for Sonic the Hedgehog. Oh, never mind, he's okay.
We also don't have enough enemies to get it to level 3, so.
True.
You may not. I have ops everywhere.
It's because of his Scottish accent earlier. It attracted the attention of too many.
Oh, what do you mean? This would never offend anybody whatsoever, then. Hey, look, America's back. I mean, sorry. Oh, look, brother. We got an eagle carrying silver,
USA.
jumping him in the drink. just a little bit.
USA.
Yeah, that.
Oh my goodness. So we have a $10 donation from Phillips Gold that says, "Hey Stelmo, what's the best jump ball and why is it adventure?"
No! We can't. We're not
I've
doing
been
this.
set up.
Philip my goat.
Not doing this.
He gave money.
Thank you so much
must
for the
answer.
donation, but no amount of money could pay for the adventure ball and how horrific it looks.
I think we should test that theory, chat.
Anyway,
Yeah, can we get a $500 donation train going?
donation train. Yeah, who got paid last Friday? Show us.
yeah.
Bust out the paycheck.
Oh my gosh.
Do you do the slope jump here? Yes, you
I
do.
do.
Okay, so slope jumps in Project 06 are a little funny because as long as you are on a curved surface and you are not standing still, you'll pretty much get the full height. So you can actually do that off just the slope of an item box. It's pretty great. Flame Core is, I think, the longest stage for Silver and probably the hardest as well. It's got all sorts of combat rooms that you have to optimize, something that is kind of difficult, like surprisingly so for Silver. Who would have thought when you remove the homing attack, it gets a little tricky. Some creative enemy bounces here. You can't actually jump directly into the second bird. If you do that, you won't get enough height. So we pogo off the first, grab the invincibility, and now we've got some lava. Lava mechanics, in the original game, they would take all your rings when you touch it. In Project 06, it will quickly siphon them away from you, and you'll begin sinking into it. So if you spend too long, you'll just get insta-killed. But if you have an invincibility capsule, you can run across the top of it like nothing ever happened.
With the second combat encounter, a little less complicated than the first. We just use that ESP blast from ESP mode in order to defeat the first wave, and then use some psychic knives for the second wave. Other things that ESP mode does, since this is the second to last time we will be seeing it, is Silver automatically stuns enemies that are near him. When enemies are stunned, his little psychic slap can instantly destroy them. What else does it do? Oh my God, it does so many things. I think the psychic shot has a wider area of effect too, something like that. I don't know. Go watch my Project 06 bio, because I don't remember.
Go watch my videos.
Casually
Hashtag Shilmo.
Casually
good
plugging
cause.
themselves in.
Oh my God, that was the most shameless plug I've ever done. Into Flame Core Section 2 here, we're going to be doing just a lot of teleport dashes, seeing a slope jump off an item box once again coming up here. Another thing that we didn't get to talk about much is that when you activate a rune, you can actually cancel the animation early by doing a jump or doing a Psycho Smash, which is the little psychic slap that I mentioned earlier. We used it there to do a 0 cycle on that platform, and then there's our slope jump on the item box right there. Hello, Bill. Bye, Bill. Thank you for giving us those energy cores to activate ESP mode for the final time in the run.
Dildo Treve. Not much to talk about here.
Except for the giant orb. This is the titular
much to
flame
talk
core. Actually, in the files, this is the flame core. Kind of weird that only Silver encounters it, but
We call it the God Puff.
the God Buff.
Go Puff.
I knew that was gonna happen. I had no rings. That's okay though. In section 1 of Flame Core, there are all these meteors that fly down and try to destroy you, and they are completely random and can hit you during automation, even in Project 06. And a fun thing about Project 06 is that everything is malleable isn't the right word, but everything is changeable. This is a from the ground up remake. There's no like brought over code or anything like that. The only things that are the same is the importing. I didn't practice any backup strats for this, so
It'll be fun.
we're just kind of going. But anyway, so it was intentionally designed to have the meteors still hit you, which is great. Always a little bit of fun when you lose a run on PB pace due to that.
Love that.
It's very rare though.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever gotten puffed in PO6.
It's
We call it puffs.
Hey.
I don't know if you mentioned this, because they look like Cocoa Puffs.
yeah. That's why we call this the God Puff. That's where the
That's the
tangent was
entire
leading
reason.
to. Yeah, that's why I brought it up.
I see it now.
That's why Rev is here, ladies and gentlemen.
It's
Make you
true.
go a little cuckoo.
When you do get puffed, you do go cuckoo.
You go cuckoo.
Teleport dashing our way into the goal ring. Blaze! Oh no!
Wait, what?
Yeah, so if you die in certain spots, normally in Project 06, there's an added detail that the amigos kind of follow the characters around. You saw it back in Sonic's Aquatic Base where Tails and Knuckles followed him, and throughout a lot of the stages here. But if you die and restart at a checkpoint, the character is not with you. So
I've never noticed that.
Silver's ending just happened early. But now we get to go into the extra stage for Silver's story. This is Blaze's Wave Ocean. So
She just had it here early.
yeah, yeah. Going back in time, but we're forward in time. I don't know, something time travel. But regardless, a cool thing to differentiate all the wave oceans we travel through in Project 06 is that each character's story has a different time of day for it. And Blaze's is set at this beautiful sunrise. The skybox is just absolutely gorgeous, and how the lighting looks on it, it's kind of a bit of a purple hue, which I guess checks out because Blaze is also purple, but we get to see a lot of cool Blaze movement and nothing else that we haven't seen before. So time to gear up for the Year of Shadow. Shadow story is coming next.
Oh gosh, I'm not
Muy
ready
bueno.
to be fearless. Be fearful.
I just want to remind that we got a $25 donation from Highlights. No comment, but that means we've already raised $100 for AbleGamers.
Nice.
So, and if you want to donate more, be sure to check that out because it is for a good cause. That's what we're here for.
Yeah, thank you
As well
guys
as,
so much for your
silly
donations.
commentary.
Yeah, no, you're good. Thank you guys so much for your donations toward that. It really means a lot. I especially heard a couple names from people who normally come around my stream. So thank you for being here, and thank you for supporting, and even folks who don't. I hope that we're providing a show for you.
I don't.
Well, that's just rude.
Well, aren't you a negative Nancy?
What? Wow.
Who brought
Debbie
them in the
Downer
call?
here.
Always the one.
Sorry, I was just channeling my edgy energy for Shadow.
Oh, I see.
Oh my goodness, it's Shadow!
Dr. Eggman.
What is he up to this time?
I hear that line way too much, man.
Oh man, so if you missed that good old Sonic Adventure gameplay, it is returned here in full stride with Shadow the Hedgehog. Think of his moveset as Sonic without the gems. So we have the homing attack. We're able to do that double homing attack just like Sonic was able to. We've also got the spin dash, but he also has some more combat focus moves as I've said for the first time in this entire stream, he is the combat focus character of Project 06, but we're going to be switching over to Rouge for just a bit.
Rouge the best character in the game. She's basically the Knuckles analog, but actually good because she's going to get to do treasure hunting. She can climb on walls, she can glide through the air, she has like punches and kicks back from SA2, she can throw bombs. We'll see more of that later, don't worry. This was just a nice taste, a promissory note of what will soon arrive.
Seeing another custom cutscene here. This is the longest one in the game, all using unused dialogue from the original game, kind of filling out a little bit of the banter that Team Dark is so well known for. Who could be the third character we play as in this story? I have no idea.
It's the gun commander.
For Shadow the Hedgehog, it's
He really
true.
turned over a new leaf, dang.
Watching him spin jump is crazy. I don't know how his spine does that.
Fun fact, another fan game, Sonic World, before it was Sonic World DX, did have a playable gun commander, and he did in fact spin jump.
Oh gosh.
Wow.
Is he okay?
Seeing my one contribution to Project 06 here is Shadow's story. Some of the stages have a few gimmicks that's not just get to the goal ring. We had to defeat those 5 searchlights, and ever since the Shadow release, that was released all the way back in 2021 when Shadow stages were added to the game, that was the route that I developed and the one we still use today, which is pretty cool. Also, you can download Project 06 if you want. It's completely free off of Chaos X's YouTube channel.
If you want.
It's not like it's an amazing game or anything.
It's not like we're forcing you to or anything.
Yeah, but like you should.
Or if you donate $9.99 right now, you can download it from me.
He just copy pastes the description.
I promise it's worth. I'll give you a firm handshake.
Ooh.
Oh, Rouge coming up, let's go! Okay, so we're back to Rouge, and now she actually has treasure hunting. SA2 heads rise up! So this is a little bit easier than those games, actually. You have the radar working like it did in Sonic Adventure 1, so it'll track all 3 keys simultaneously. And you also have only a few locations. Each key has 3 different spots it can be in, so you've got like 27 combinations, I guess. Stelmo got his absolute favorite set, as you can see right here. No, this one's stopped.
That key I've gotten the last 5 Shadow runs.
That's
So
horrific.
I'm convinced it's weighted.
Well, if you downloaded it from me, you would have had that issue.
With rigged RNG.
I'll
If
give you
only
the
you'd paid the
special
$9.99 and get the download.
Exactly.
You wouldn't have had this issue at all.
And for an extra $5, you can get the Mephiles skin for Shadow.
No, that's the
No.
pre-order bonus.
No, that one's in a loot box. You get the
That's the DLC that comes with
And
the
if you get the digital deluxe, you can play the game early.
Peru.
it also comes with
we'll
the
show
Tilted Towers level.
Oh no.
Yes, dude. Fortnite.
That's the last thing Shadow needs to do to become a pop culture icon is be in Fortnite.
Is that John Fortnite himself?
He's looking quite alien.
He's tilted at the towers.
Is that Glisnorp?
Is that Glisnorp? Oh no.
The Glizzington? Could it be true?
USA, 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 USA.
That was impressive how out of sync you were.
And
Yeah, we
that
try.
that is
We
our
aim to
last
be
eagle
accurate.
in the game.
What?
We are no longer American. Happy Canada Day, everyone.
Restart the stage. Go restart the stage. Please.
Oh man, this is so interesting. Normally we don't show off all stories, so we talk about the mechanics of the game, but we've already talked about the mechanics of the game.
It's never got to devolve this much live on stream. Anyways, section 3 is a very movement-focused section. Who would have thought? There aren't really any fancy tricks going on. Other than that, in Project 06, you can cancel a chain jump by pressing the X button, which usually doesn't come up too much, but if you're creative, you can do stuff like that, like knocking down the tower to skip a little bit of automation. Let's see, is he going to do the spin kick? Yes, he is. This looks a little bit different from Sonic's, but it still maintains their speed very nicely. Skip the interior of the tower, just some creative level design there. And let's see if we can skip some stairs. The Chaos Spear in this game will bounce Shadow upwards, but you only get 3 of them. No infinite shenanigans here.
Oh my goodness.
And skip some combat with a slope jump. Remember that those are a little jank in this game, but very fun.
That was that signature marathon. That has never happened before. So that final light dash is normally supposed to have Shadow clip through those rocks, so he maintains that light dash, but one of them just decided to go rogue.
I was gonna say, I've never seen that before.
Orco
either.
Rouge?
Yeah.
No.
It used to happen a lot in the Shadow release, but Chaos specifically touted to me that he fixed it.
Shadow?
But I guess it didn't.
Well.
Seeing the other side of that cutscene here as we begin California once again. But instead of being on a snowboard this time, we're actually on foot. So we'll get to see the spin dash in this game.
L-A.
If you didn't know, Shadow actually didn't have the spin dash in the original game. There's something that a lot of folks with how popular Project 06 is don't remember.
Yeah, for some reason they said, let's make him unique by making him worse.
How to create a Sonic character 101.
True.
Yeah, pretty much.
OC, do not steal.
Ooh.
Shadow's X action in the air is not the bound attack, which I'm sure you've caught on to by now. It is in fact the Chaos Spear. So Shadow can perform up to 3 Chaos Spears and he can actually charge it as well, which we saw back in White Acropolis and we'll see in the future. The Chaos Spear gives Shadow a little bounce for a recovery after he uses one, which we can use to gain additional height, and we still get our second jump dash after that spear. However, we only get a single extra jump dash per 3 spears, so we're not doing like 4 jump dashes, though that would be kind of cool. But we get to see something even cooler now, Chaos Boost.
He's red! Yeah, so this is Shadow's gimmick. When the action gauge is filled up by killing enemies, you can press the right trigger to go red and enhance your combat abilities. At level 1, keep that in mind, you get Chaos Snap, where if you hold down the A button, you'll teleport to your targets, and this does effectively give you a longer homing attack range because it reperforms the lock-on check. Stelmo's going to be using that in a second for a massive corner cut that made Sonic use the purple gem. Shadow's cooler than that. You can level it up by filling up the, what's it called, maturity meter, that's the word. Once again, at level 2, Chaos Spear becomes Chaos Lance, dealing increased damage.
Yes.
Yeah! Sorry, Gordon.
Is way harder than that is way harder than it looks.
I think we named that very recently, called a Chaos Skip, because I'm the only one who does it. So unlike other Project 06 speedrunners, I speedrun with camera volumes on. So, a little bit of game development knowledge for you. Whenever you see the camera like change and do a cool angle cinematic thing while you're playing the game, which is going to happen right here at the end of section 3, that's called a camera volume. When you turn them off, basically it just locks the camera behind the character. And what I did there with Chaos Boost is extremely easy to do with camera volumes off. It's basically a free skip. But with camera volumes on, things get a little bit trickier. But here we go into a unique section of Crisis City. Oh. I mean California. Dang it. Almost said
Thank you.
The facade is broken.
My
I mean, it is a
immersion.
crisis. I mean,
You gotta call out California when you see.
We are in a red state.
It switched. Oh, let's stop that before that goes somewhere.
Anywho.
Section F actually did show up a little bit with Silver, but he played it kind of in reverse here. So Shadow gets to see the whole shebang. It's so much better. Look at these spin dashes. Look at these jumps. Look at him skipping the top route with the springs to go the way Yuji Naka intended. He's such a good speedrunner.
Oh, man. That was Shadow's longest stage, by the way.
Longest stage in the
yeah,
game.
that was a long stage.
Is it the longest stage in the game? I guess it is.
Yeah, I don't think there's any stages
Silver
longer.
Flame Core comes pretty close, but yeah.
Yeah.
You should see the way I play Dusty Desert.
He actually takes the hover car route.
I play as the developers intended.
It is pretty interesting, too, that between the original Sonic 06 and Project 06, a lot of the times where the stages are very similar. However, they are achieved in very different ways.
Yes.
Right, in Flame Core, I'll take this one. In Flame Core, we're going to be actually seeing that level up mechanic that Gordon was alluding to earlier. So the maturity meter for Silver governed his ESP mode. For Sonic, governed his gems. For Shadow, it governs Chaos Blast, because I accidentally pressed the button again.
Wait, that's bad.
But at level 3, a Chaos Boost with a full maturity meter unlocks uninhibited mode. I did not know that you had to defeat those birds in order to open that door. That's new
I
info.
definitely thought you died there.
Yeah.
More meter.
Yeah, so this is going to be a little bit interesting and a little bit of thinking on my feet. So uninhibited mode here is extremely powerful. Shadow has the ability to have touch damage now. He defeats any enemy in one hit. Oh my gosh.
Go.
Okay, if that meter runs out, he goes through like.
There's a gauge up capsule here. There we go. All right, it's all good. It's all good. It's all good. So the whole danger there is that Shadow's uninhibited mode, it's governed by the action gauge, just like the rest of Chaos Boost is. Each increasing level of Chaos Boost drains more and more of the action gauge. Well, actually, it drains the gauge quicker and quicker. And uninhibited mode drains it exponentially fast, so we got to keep collecting these energy cores in order to keep it active. If we run out, Shadow will have a 6-second stun where we can't do a single thing. But thankfully, we can bypass that because we don't need uninhibited mode for Section 2 by just doing a quick start over. Cool thing is, kind of like Sonic Adventure 1, actually, is we can restart sections. We can't restart from the checkpoints like that game, but we can restart the beginning of sections. And right there in Section 2, we can just do that to knock ourselves out of uninhibited mode, avoid that penalty, grab this invincibility, and kind of do things the same way we did with Sonic, just using the Chaos Spear instead of the Bound Attack and Purple Gem. Flame Core is the most similar between the two. The level design is identical, other than there's like an extra platform. Silver and Shadow actually both have an extra platform in Section 1, and the orbs here with Rouge are in different spots than they were with Knuckles, but that's about it.
Some more treasure hunting, except these are, you know, always in the same spot. They are technically on a timer, so if Stelmo messes up again, well, we might be in some hot water. But
It's a,
lucky got it.
it's a 1-minute timer.
Yeah,
I think I can do better than that.
I don't know, man.
Oh my goodness.
I saw that first wave ocean.
No, you didn't. It got
Wait, what?
erased from existence,
What?
man.
What? This is our first run. Trying to do a little skip there. There's something we tried called cage dashing, which we can use the slope of those cages to get some pretty good vertical height. Wasn't quite close enough to be able to homing attack the enemy, though, unfortunately, so we had to take the slow way. The route of shame.
Route of shame.
Route of
Year
shame.
of shame.
I'm trying to see here. With how this run is going, I think gliderless is possible.
On the table?
I think
No
it's on the. I
gliders?
think it's on the table.
Or on the parasail, as it were.
Yeah, true.
Anyways, we sound like schizophrenics right now. You'll see what we mean later. We're headed into Radical Train. Now, this one is a little bit different from Sonic's. A little bit, just a wee bit. Instead of saving the train, we actually need to kill it. And, I mean, I could tell you that Eggman's on it, but it's funnier if I say it's still civilians in Shadow. So you gotta wait for it to come up, you gotta spin kick, and you gotta throw the commentary back over to Stelmo.
True, true. So a nice little detail is how I talked about way back in Sonic's Radical Train that the train in Section 1 was actually holding civilians. This is a different train model. So the storytelling is consistent here that Shadow is actually not spin kicking the civilian train.
That's good to know.
Not that edgy, thankfully.
heart.
But I'm using the tornado kick here. I will talk more about the tornado kick at the beginning of the next stage because it's the best showcase of it. But it's the best ability in the game, and you'll see why as we when we enter Aquatic Base. But for now, we're going to be seeing a thing we've kind of glossed over, even though we've seen it a bunch, is Shadow has vehicles in this game. And you enter them occasionally. And we have to enter the motorcycle here. Even though Shadow is naturally faster, we have to destroy the train in order to complete Radical Train. We don't just chase it to the end. A cool thing, though, is as a homage to 2005 Shadow the Hedgehog, we have infinite ammo while we're in Chaos Boost in the vehicles, which is pretty cool.
Is that in retail?
No.
Oh,
It's only in this
that's
one.
cool.
But normally it takes more than 100 shots to destroy the train, and Shadow would have to wait to reload and stuff, so we save a little bit of time there. We also cancel the Chaos Boost animation by entering the vehicle right after we activate it. A funny thing that can happen, that happened during practice to me, is that you can still get the camera shaking and like the impact frames, but not enter Chaos Boost. So it's just a little awkward. But now we're in Aquatic Base. Fun fact about Aquatic Base for Shadow and Silver is that they actually have a purple and orange hue, respectively, to represent the different villains that they're chasing. But here is the Tornado Kick. So these purple worms here have the most health out of any enemy in the game. And they go down just that easily. The reason is that the Tornado Kick, it does constant damage while an enemy is within its radius. We can increase that radius by pressing the B button over and over again, and it does 2 damage per hit. And the most health that those purple worms have is 6. It's insane. Yeah. It's the best ability in the game because Shadow is just so combat focused, especially in these later stages, that you can just wipe the floor with any required combat just by spin kicking. Oh, and you don't have to be in Chaos Boost. Like, Shadow just has that out the box. So
yeah,
that's where it edges over uninhibited.
It is, like, strangely, like, you wouldn't expect it to be a hard ability to use, but it is actually, like, kind of intense because you have to like manage your speed really well. So you have to be like, okay, between this enemy and this enemy, I need to only spin dash once so that I can min-max the amount of hits that I'm getting, and like that changes between every different enemy formation. So it is actually, there is a lot of depth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 06, Project 06, it's a game where it's like, this is pretty easy to just pick up and understand, but there is a lot of depth and nuance if you really want to master it. Makes for a pretty good speedrun.
Easy to learn, hard to master, one could say. Fun to master, even.
Yeah.
So we're going to be seeing uninhibited mode once again here. I'm going to do a cool little trick with this magnetic pole where I'm going to fire a Chaos Spear at it and then enter uninhibited to defeat all those enemies without having to go over. And while in uninhibited, we now have a charged Chaos Lance. Chaos Lance is normally an ability that's only in level 2 Chaos Boost. Well, also in level 3, I guess. But Shadow can fire it as a multi-target, which we saw back in Flame Core and also at the beginning of this combat room here. Coolest combat section in the game, by the way. It's just really neat to go over and insta-kill all those really beefy enemies with Shadow's homing attack. But there we go, 156, pretty good time. And I think the gliderless attempt is real.
Much like the One Piece. Okay, so this is the only glider that you are not forced into. So naturally, we got really bored one day and said, what if we just didn't use it?
We did get very bored because the thing about this is like the most useless trick in the game. Like, it's really cool, but you genuinely lose like a minute doing this. So,
if you ask me if it's faster, I won't answer.
Yeah.
Flag is time neutral, as Sid says.
Very true. So this is us going backwards in Sonic's Mach Speed section, and we're absolutely taking advantage of the spear bouncing as well as those 3 different spears. Another thing about the Chaos Spear, how many times can I say that in a row, is that Shadow can hold a charge infinitely. So I'm able to kind of just hover in the air while these pillars break, because these pillars do damage to... Oh, I said doo-doo. They do damage to Shadow, so we have to wait until they completely fall before we do this. It was not designed to go through this section on foot. You're very much meant to go into the glider, but Chaos didn't force us into it, so here we are.
I just lost internet one day and was like, I gotta kill time somehow.
Yeah.
Easy peasy. That was gliderless. Lost 30 seconds. But now it's Omega time!
That was actually, like, I think the fastest gliderless I've ever seen. That was clean as hell.
I practiced it quite a bit.
Good one. Nothing to say about this guy. We can just ignore him and talk about something else, I guess.
No, but he's so cool in this stage. You get to hover and stuff.
Yeah.
He
True.
also counts grain of sand.
It's
That's not until the next stage, though.
Hey,
I mean, there is sand here. He
That's
could
true,
count
he
it.
could.
He has the ability to.
That join us. 1,
2,
So that's why this runs 5 hours.
3. Sand counting stream. Also Mephiles. Also guns.
We'll be seeing more of that later. We're dropped
just
with
forgetting that scene.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Really?
We're dropped into this giant open field with Shadow, but thankfully Rev told me exactly where the switch was, so I just spin dashed right to it. and continue on here, opening the gate and going into probably the coolest movement section with Shadow that doesn't take advantage of any of his specific abilities, which is kind of unfortunate. But we use the slope of the wall right there to get a higher slope jump, and then we are spin dashing right here. We're gonna smash that rock, which recharges our homing attack. Get a badnik bounce there in order to get over that gap, enter the hover car, and yeah, we're just gonna go straight to the goal ring from here. No weird oddities or anything.
That's a good baddie boing. Really good addition to the 06 moveset.
Yeah, you couldn't jump into enemies in the original game.
Fuck that
Yeah,
guy.
no. It was terrible. We've been trying to program it,
think
and
it's right.
it's just horrific.
There? Yeah! But Shadow, being the ultimate life form he is unfazed from getting run over.
Just like me, for real.
What? What?
How does he do it?
How does he do it? Here we go into our final full-length stage, Dusty Desert. Normally, with the hover car here, we are supposed to go through a bunch of pillars and kind of snake around the left side of the level design. This is a Sonic section way back from the beginning of the run. But thankfully, in Project 06, the trigger to open the temple door is right behind this destructible wall. So we just hover straight there and zoom through.
And we're very thankful because that section is really annoying.
Yeah, so into the actual stage of Shadow's Dusty Desert here, we're going to be doing some spin dashing on tubes, which are a little bit unruly, but they have been smoothed out for the next release. Seeing the tornado kick and validate another combat encounter right there.
It's just so fast, dude.
It's ridiculous. It's so good. And did I say Shadow's Dusty Desert? I meant Omega's Dusty Desert. Take it away.
Yay.
Get him off screen.
So, Omega's received a whole host of buffs since the original game. He has the melee attacks he had in Sonic Heroes. He can, he can't hover infinitely anymore, but his hover is much faster. He's has the ability to use that lock-on shot while moving, and as we'll see in a second, he has gained the ability to transform into a turret, like we saw in the Mephiles cutscene in Wave Ocean, and it's so fun. I'm just gonna let this speak.
Keep stalling. Keep stalling. We're almost
He's
there.
going to become a true American in just a second by pressing the Y button. Now,
Yes.
when
As
you
all
enter this
Americans do.
Yeah.
When someone's on your property, this is the correct,
Stand your
this is the
ground,
correct
Omega.
course of action.
So you only have 50 shots, but you replenish them by collecting those energy cores from the enemies. You get like 15 back at a time. Also, those bullets are treated as physical objects in the world, which means you can use them to collect item boxes or shoot switches just like that. We couldn't shoot that one earlier. Well, in old releases we could, but Chaos didn't like that very much.
He
Good
made
old
it to
days.
where the switch isn't actually in existence until you cross through a specific door.
Yeah, it's pretty tragic. Also,
have been
Omega's
foiled.
gone forever, which is
Thank God, man.
This is also our last bit with Shadow.
I'm
oh
sorry,
yeah,
Ado.
high strongest enemy in the game.
Oh, dude,
my
that guy
strongest
is
enemy
so
in the
annoying.
game.
If you don't kill that worm fast enough, he puts up a stupid barrier that this is like the only enemy in the game that I think I've ever seen put up like an actual shield.
Yeah,
Like,
the
they all have the ability to do it, but they just don't.
I don't know if in
Except for that one
Project
guy.
06, I don't know if in Project 06 they all have the ability to do it, but in the original game, pretty much all the bigger enemies, and even like I think the crabs still can in Project 06.
Yes. Sonic 06 actually had like a surprisingly developed combat system, but you never needed to know any of it, and none of it was ever explained.
Yep.
So it's like a lot of it's just been dummied out for TO6.
Time is
Also,
going to be
more
when I
rich-
hit this, when I hit the goal ring on this stage.
So
But yeah,
this is
more
the-
treasure hunting. What a way to end Project 06. So this is the extra stage in Shadow's story. It's Rouge's Tropical Jungle, the only one that's not Wave Ocean. And we're doing key hunt again. Thankfully, in this stage, only the first 2 keys are randomized, and the third key is always in the same spot. So instead of having a 1 in 27, just a 1 in 9. But I still managed to get like the worst key set, so it doesn't matter. To get this last
okay.
key, we're going to be doing some combat stuff. Rouge has some bombs that we just haven't seen yet because we didn't need them. So you can use them on the ground or in the air, kind of like Chaos Spear. And with this goal ring, that is time. that was all of Project 06. If we have time for some bonus content, we can do that. But if not, Wagers, the Sonic Extravaganza team, thank you so much for having us. It was a blast doing this. And in chat, thank you guys so much for supporting AbleGamers, supporting the stream. And I hope you stick around for the next run because it's going to be freaking awesome.